What's good, y'all? So recently I've been rereading a series that many, including myself, hold to high regard. I'm talking about Berserk. Like, where do I even begin? Well, let me give a little synopsis for those who are in the dark. Berserk is a series that follows Guts, the main protagonist, as he seeks vengeance for what has transpired to him in his past. Branded with the brand of sacrifice, his past constantly haunts him as he goes through various conflicts. This is a story about how Guts copes with trauma and evolves from his past. And throughout the story, you see his character develop as he meets different people. His main goal is seeking vengeance on the man who took everything from him, Griffith, as well as hunting down the God Hand and their apostles. Hopefully that spoiler-free synopsis gave you some idea of what the story is about. Berserk is a series I personally got into back in late 2019. Before experiencing it, I would hear about it from various people. But one day, the 1997 Berserk anime appeared in my YouTube recommendations. Hit with overwhelming curiosity, I checked it out. And after about the first 2 episodes, I knew I had discovered gold. The harsh, dark, gritty world of Berserk stood out to me, and its realistically portrayed, complex, and extremely well-written characters had me deeply invested. Now, if you're a fan of Berserk, you already know that the 1997 anime only adapts the Golden Age arc from the manga, with some deviations of course. And bro, when I saw the eclipse, my goodness man, I didn't even know what to do with myself. I don't want to go too in depth because of spoilers, but just know it had me fucked up for the remainder of the night. I was left in a state of varying complex emotions: shock, confusion, disgust, anger, sadness. After I got back from the most depressing trip from the bathroom, I browsed the comment section underneath the final episode. There I saw numerous comments of fans urging people to read the manga. Like I said, the 97 anime only covered the Golden Age arc, with some differences ranging from character absences to events entirely playing out differently. Doesn't entirely detract from what the 97 anime did so well. In fact, it is actually well beloved by the fan base as well as myself. So I did it. I started to read the manga. I was of course greeted to the strikingly beautiful and detailed art of the late Kentaro Miura, the author and the artist of the series. The detailed and intricate character writing I had grown accustomed to in the anime was also present, but shortly after I started reading it, I stopped. Not because I didn't like it, but I simply got sidetracked with life and its various obligations. I remember telling myself that I would get back to reading it eventually, but I constantly put it off. It wasn't until one day in May of 2024 that I decided to commit to reading it again. It was hands down one of the best decisions I've ever made, and that's no exaggeration. So a person who is unfamiliar with Berserk may be asking, what makes Berserk worth reading? Well, it obviously varies depending on who you ask, but allow me to give you my answer. Berserk is one of those things in life that could potentially have a long-lasting impression on you, way after initially reading it. The first thing is its world. Berserk's world is dark, harsh, cruel, and unforgiving. Much like our own, it doesn't hold back at all with its violence. Like, not at all. And characters' actions have realistic consequences and outcomes that can have a chain reaction throughout the world. This series does not shy away from the harsh realities that plague life. It is not for the sensitive-minded or squeamish individual, but I think the fact that this world doesn't hold back adds to its appeal. I don't mean for the sake of edginess or violence for the sake of being violent, but Miura was extremely intentional with how he presented this world to us. It's clearly meant to be a reflection of ours, minus the man-eating demons and magic of course, and allows the reader to ponder about different aspects of what makes up our reality. Relatability is what I'm getting at here, and as we all know, relatability leads to heightened immersion. And I think we're at the perfect point where we can segue into this legendary series cast of characters. Simply call them relatable wouldn't do them justice. These are deeply complex and memorable characters that help keep you grounded within the story. Even the side characters that aren't as fleshed out as the main cast manage to leave some sort of impression on you. There is a lot of attention to detail put into Berserk's characters, no matter the role. Everyone knows the main protagonist, Guts, a walking example of perseverance and determination that has layers upon layers of characterization. And to top it all off, he's badass. Then you have Griffith. Out of all the anime and manga villains that I came across, Griffith stands out on top for me. I mean, you talk about a character that has layers. There are numerous videos that go in depth with analyzing him and his actions. And he also happens to be one of those villains you literally can't stand to see when he shows up. As for the reasons why, I can't go in depth. Backstory, motivation, death, presence, and anything else you can think of. It's all there for who is, in my opinion, one of the best written villains of all time. Subtlety is a key factor that goes into writing a great character. This series has it in spades. And of course, how can I not talk about the amazing, highly detailed art of Berserk? Every page begs to be admired and analyzed with the amount of detail put into the artwork. I mean, the amount of discipline and time it probably took for Miura to draw these up, it only highlights his elite skill and dedication to his craft. There were numerous times when I read the manga and analyzed the page even after I read the panels. Kentaro Miura can effectively convey complex emotions with his art no matter the theme or subject matter. Horror, beauty, rage, sadness, and everything in between. There is never a dull moment reading Berserk, and the art truly plays a large part in enforcing that. Berserk is the quintessential manga reading experience. Its story is so perfectly well written, almost like it's from some sort of myth or legend. Its plot developments and twists are nothing short of gratifying. The character writing is among the best you'll ever experience, and the art is simply striking. As you read it, you'll come to understand why people across the world hold it to such high regard. One thing I failed to mention earlier in this video was when I initially got into Berserk, I was going through a low point in my life. You know what I mean, we all have those. But what Berserk taught me was to endure, persevere, to remember your purpose, to remember why you struggle and fight day to day, and for that, I'm always appreciative of what I consider my favorite manga of all time. I hope that anybody that was on the fence about reading Berserk or had some interest in it are not propelled to read it after the things I talked about today. And to those that are caught up with the manga, I hope this video resonated with you and brought you back to the time when you first came across this series. And of course, rest in peace Kentaro Miura, and thank you for creating a masterpiece that resonates with millions of fans around the world. And let's hope that Studio Gaga could give Berserk the ending it deserves. That's it for this one, guys. Stay safe and stay blessed out there. Peace.